Hi, this is Judy and it's Sunday from the Sewing Room, and today I'm going to talk to you about your scraps. I know that a lot of you come into the store and they say, I have so much scrap, I don't know what to do with them, or I don't want to buy anything because I have so much scrap, or I have bins that are overflowing. So today I want to talk to you about 2.5-inch strips, or how you can make 2.5-inch strips. I love sewing with pre-cuts, and sometimes when we have a project, we either have a lot of leftover fabrics that are maybe 2 or 4 inches or less, or we have leftover strips from another project, and I wanted to talk to you about how to use those. So I had all of this fabric left over from a project, and this is literally a project that I did like 10 years ago. So Mary at the store was kind enough to cut all of my little tiny pieces into 2.5-inch strips for me. And as you can see, I had quite a bit. So I wanted to see what would happen if I put these together in blocks, because I thought these would make a really cute like bed runner at the bottom of the quilt that I had made from these scraps, or maybe even like a picnic quilt. I love that they're red, white, and blue, so they're a little patriotic, but not being, you know, that over the top patriotic, just the patriotic feel. So you can really use this quilt all year around, not just during the 4th of July. So what I did was I started sewing the 2.5-inch strips together in sets. And so I sewed a whole bunch of these, and you can see what I did here. And then I would pair up them randomly so that I could get just totally random strips. And then what I did from there was I cut them in two so that they would be more manageable. And from there, from the 2.5-inch strips, what you get is 8.5 inches. So I created 8.5-inch blocks out of the 2.5-inch strips. So I created several different kinds, and you can see they're pretty scrappy. And then you could do basically a rail fence, and everybody knows how to do that so that they go in opposite directions, and you can make this as scrappy as you want to. And so then this one would go this way, and you could just create something that way. So that's a really easy and fast way to use 2.5-inch strips. Another way is to take these blocks and cut them and make something totally different. So what I did here was I cut two different blocks on the diagonal like this. So this was two 8.5-inch blocks, and I cut each block once on the diagonal to create a different kind of quilt, or a different kind of block here. And with this, you can turn these different ways, and then you will end up trimming these down to about a 7.5-inch block. But this is another look that you could do. I really like this. I think this is a lot of fun too. And this would create something super scrappy, and I think that that is fun. So that's one other block. The other one that I did was this one, and I'm going to show you how I did this. So this is a block, the same 8.5-inch block, and it is cut on the diagonal twice. So let me do that with this one for you. So I cut it once on the diagonal this way. And then I just moved my ruler, oops, and I moved my block, and I cut it again on the diagonal this way. And then I just did a little swapperoo. So what you can do here is you take these two and you swap it here and you swap it here. And then obviously if you swap it again, and swap it again, then you're back to where you were. So just take two of them and swap them, and this is the look that you get. So I really like that. I thought that was really fun. And these would go together really nicely too. And they'll create like little triangles in each corner. So that's a fun way to do it. But I gotta tell you, I even had more fun. I just thought there are so many possibilities with this block. So I did this block, and I'm gonna show you how I did this because this was so fun. So I took a block and I cut it into, so this is 8.5 inches. I cut this in two at 4 1/4. Let me get my 4 1/4. So 2 4 1/4s make it 8.5. So I did that. And then, so I have two blocks, or two pieces. And then I cut it at a diagonal this way. And I thought that was really cool because you could do something fun with these two pieces by just swapping these around. Oops, I didn't quite get that out. So that makes something really cool. I really like that too. But then I thought, okay, wait a minute. What if I do one more diagonal cut and I cut it one more time this way? And then what I actually created was the foundation for flying geese. Let me show you. So now I have these two that are flying geese, and now I have these two and these two. And then I just swapped them. So one here and one here, and one here, and one here. And then I created flying geese. So I sewed this here, this to here, and I came up with this really cool scrappy block. I loved it because the only seams, and I didn't do it well because I didn't nest my seams well, was this seam in the middle. These other seams don't really match up, and I really like that scrappy look. So this is a really fun, fast, easy thing to do with 2.5 inch strips. And the only limitation is your braveness and your imagination. So feel free to cut these up, use them as a rail fence, but don't let them sit in a bin somewhere because there's a quilt in there. So you can do this with leftover 2.5 inch strips from a jelly roll. You can use it from leftover strips from binding, anything that you want. And then the other thing that I did was if I didn't quite have enough for an 8.5 inch block and I had this left over, the sky is the limit on here too. So what I could do is cut this and make piano keys for all the way around the edge of a quilt. And then I already have the makings for a really cool scrappy border. So what I could do is put a little sashing in between the blocks and put this on the outside, and you have not wasted a thing. So that's my tip today for Sunday from the Sewing Room. We'll see you next week at the shop. Thank you so much. Bye.